This week, Dyana Kelly from CampCalNow joins us to share 6 principles for safe camping and outdoor travel. Plus, an RV is stuck for a week on the side of a mountain. This is the RV Miles podcast. RV Miles is sponsored by LL Bean, dedicated to helping you experience all the benefits of time outside and stay more comfortable while you're out there. From soft and breathable activewear designed to do it all, to just right layers perfect for changing weather, to sun-smart clothing that blocks the sun's harmful rays. Every LL Bean product is made with comfortable time outside in mind. Visit llbean.com to shop now. LL Bean. Be an outsider.
Welcome to episode 201 of RV Miles. I'm Jason.
And I'm Abby. And we are 2 full-time travelers who, along with our boys, Jack, Ethan, and Henry, are crisscrossing North America on one epic road trip. Each week we talk all things RV and outdoors, from travel destinations to gear, industry news, our national parks, and a whole lot more.
As we talked about last time, and I think the time before, we are officially out of our Pioneer. We're out of an RV in general for the next several weeks as we anxiously await for our new RV to finish being built. So we are camping out at my parents' house here, my boyhood home.
We're shaking it up a little bit this week too. We're standing while we record this.
Yeah, for those of you listening, it must be a whole different experience.
I think that it started and they went, whoa, Jason and Abby are standing up for this one.
We're having a good time here. We have to make a little bit of a correction from last week.
Yeah, let's just get it out of the way. We were informed by a few people that we did make a mistake, and we do feel that we should own that and correct that. And that is that we said Galesburg, Illinois does not have any ERs. That is not correct. They absolutely have medical care in the Galesburg area. We just didn't articulate ourselves well enough and tack on that in our network.
You're saying we a lot here.
Don't you dare throw me under this bus right now. I've already been under it, rolled over a few times. We're a team, mister.
Well, we're enjoying ourselves here in the Quad Cities area on the Iowa-Illinois border, and we're going to be heading to Kansas City soon for the 4th of July holiday, which is shaping up to be a very busy travel holiday, back to pre-pandemic travel records, according to AAA, that a lot of people will be out on the road.
Yeah, in fact, they're saying that this is going to be the second highest travel holiday for 4th of July this year. Only about 1.2 million people less than what traveled in the record, which was 2019. So we are slowly making our way back. And of the 47.7 million people that they said are going to be on the road for Independence Day holiday, 42.3 of those are going to be in a car or an RV.
Shut the front door.
Shut that RV door. It's going to be busy. In fact, they were also saying when it comes to congestion in major cities, San Francisco and Boston will see a 330% increase in delays on the road.
Well, there's one RVer that was delayed for a week, and for quite a different reason. A gentleman was driving his 38-foot motorhome, pulling a car dolly with a sedan on the back of it, which is basically our exact setup when we had our bus, right?
I feel like you're about to set me up here for a story about Bussy, because this whole being up in a mountain road with a bus sounds very familiar.
So he was trying to get to a campground traveling up a road called Lime Creek Road, which is sort of one of those gravel mountain roads that have very steep drop-offs, no shoulders, no guardrails, anything like that.
So a road he shouldn't have
Something that
been
a motorhome of that size should never have been on.
Yes.
And this is off of the $1 Million Highway, which is in between Durango and Ouray in Colorado, which is a road that I wouldn't take that rig on itself.
Oh, no.
But this is an offshoot up the mountain from that. And his driver's side rear dually wheels, single lane road, went off the left side off the edge of the road. Steep drop off, a mountainside drop off right there. And what saved him basically was the fact that when those wheels dropped, the rear end bottomed out. So he was just stuck there, couldn't move. And it took a week for a tow truck to be able to come up there and clear him out there. And it blocked traffic on that road. And he camped outside of his RV because he didn't want to stay inside of it for obvious reasons.
He was afraid he might fall off the mountain.
Yeah, he didn't even think. I guess if he took his car off the dolly, people could have gotten around him. Wow. But he refused to do that because he thought that was kind of anchoring his RV from rolling off the hill. So he's free now. But
that's a tough conversation to have with people who would like to get by.
Yeah, and kudos to the tow truck driver who was able to pull him down from that spot.
I'd like to see some video of that, of them getting that down the mountain. Wow.
We've officially announced our meetup that's happening this fall in Camp Verde, Arizona. Camp Verde, Arizona,
yes,
at the Verde Ranch RV Resort, which was where we spent the beginning of the pandemic and had a wonderful time there, and couldn't have been more lucky to be sheltering in place in that spot. So they're having us back for an informal get-together, maybe 18 rigs or so.
Yeah, so the event is taking place November 3rd through the 7th, and we do have a very limited number of spots available, 18 total. That is because we've never done this before, and so we wanted to keep it very, very small, not get in over our heads. So we will be announcing all of the details, including how to sign up here very, very soon. So if this is something you're interested in, just head over to rvmiles.com, click on that Contact Us up there in the menu bar. You're going to see the mailing list. Just join that, and that is how we are going to officially announce all of the details. But mark your calendars now, November 3rd through the 7th.
And please don't call the resort yet, because we have not really, it's not available for you to reserve yet, but we'll release the details through email. And it's going to be, you're just going to be paying for the campsite. It's going to be a discounted rate for the campsite. It's a free event. We're just hanging out, maybe visiting a few National Park Service sites and stuff in the area.
Yeah, there will be no talks. There won't be anything really big in regards to organized events. Jason really wants to do a live taping of the podcast, so I think that we're going to be doing that. I think I have been roped into doing that. And then we're also looking to maybe take a day trip over to a couple of the national parks that are nearby, and then some very, very informal get-together kind of cookout, bring your own food type thing. So, but really, it's just so that we can have an opportunity to meet a few of you who have really been so instrumental in allowing us to do what we love to do.
We have a great interview with Dyana Kelly from CampCalNow, who's going to talk about lots of ways that we can safely travel. You know, there's a lot of people that are new to RVing, new to camping, but there's just more people doing it. And the more people that are doing it, the more campgrounds are having a hard time keeping up with it, both private and state and federal. And Diana's going to share with us some tips that we can do to help ease up the stress on our campgrounds and our public lands in just a moment. Are your tires ready for your next big summer trip? FMCA has a tire savings program for its members. It's one of the most popular benefits of the largest nonprofit RV club in the world. Members save literally hundreds per tire. Purchase Michelin, Continental, and hand-cooked tires for passenger vehicles, light trucks, and RVs. You can visit fmca.com to get tire quotes and lists of participating tire dealers. This benefit comes in especially handy when a tire emergency occurs when you're traveling in your RV, or simply when it's time to replace your tires. FMCA is running a membership promotion right now that's $60 for 1 year of membership or $50 for 1 year of renewal. With the code 1 year, you can save 30% instantly. But hurry, this is only a limited time offer and ends July 6th at midnight. RV season is here, but the change of seasons also brings rain, mud, pollen, and other elements that you have to waste your time cleaning, or worse, that can end up damaging your vehicle. Whether you own a motorhome, a travel trailer, or a truck camper, EmpireCovers.com is here to help you protect all your vehicles against Mother Nature. EmpireCovers.com offers high-quality, affordable covers that are engineered to protect. Every cover comes with a free warranty to guarantee that it remains durable over time. If you're not in need of a full cover, Empire has just launched a line of RV rooftop covers that keep the roof of your RV clean and protect it from UV rays. RV Miles listeners can receive free shipping plus an extra 15% off their entire order. Visit empirecovers.com/RV Miles or use the promo code RV Miles at checkout. Record numbers of first-time campers are hitting the campgrounds this year, and that's causing all sorts of different impacts on the land and the environment. And that's prompted the California Association of Campgrounds, CampCalNow or campcalifornia.com, to develop 6 outdoor principles to ensure that everyone has a safe and enjoyable trip in the nature, whether it's a day hike, a multi-day camping trip. Today, I have Dyana Kelly from camp-california.com on the line to talk about those 6 different principles that they've enumerated. Dyana, welcome.
Hi, Jason. Thank you so much for having me this morning. I appreciate it.
Thanks for being here. How is this year going so far in California campgrounds?
Very busy, but we are seeing a shift, a little bit of a change. And I think it's going to lighten up the campgrounds slightly over last year. 2020, there wasn't anything else to do. Disneyland wasn't open, your beaches were closed in a lot of places, especially here in California. Nobody knew, could we go to the beach? Can I go to a state? There was a lot of ambiguity over what people were allowed to do. But what they knew what they could do was go to the mountains, go to a campground. And so they kind of went in droves. And I think this year people are starting to disperse a little bit. So there's a little bit lighter footprint, but I don't think that all these new campers mean to, kind of disregard basic outdoor principles. I think they're just uneducated. So part of these outdoor principles was to help educate all of these new people that are coming to our outdoor spaces.
Awesome. Well, let's just dive into the first one. The first one is be prepared and have a backup plan. Being flexible is a big deal right now, isn't it?
It's huge. Yes. So we saw a lot of frustration with people getting up and thinking, great, I'm going to go to the lake, right? And getting there only to realize that there had been a line since 5:30 and they were only letting in a certain number of people. And, you've got your kids all packed up, you're in the car, and now you can't get in, or you're waiting in line for hours. So a really important step here is to actually have a backup plan, something else, someplace else you can go to if that first spot doesn't work out, if there is a line, if there's a limitation on number of people, if you don't want to wait. And then the other thing to remember too is that you need to make sure the activity is right for your skill level. So we did find people that went out to areas because, they kept hearing about it on Facebook or something, only to find out that no, their kids weren't going to be able to do that hike, or there were a lot of stairs and they can't do stairs or something like that. So it's important to make sure that whatever plan you're making fits your skill level and that you have a secondary plan in case it doesn't work out.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that head out into nature and outdoors, they don't want to have a plan. They sort of want to just go with the flow. And that's just getting harder and harder to do with campground availability, with busy trails, but also just makes your vacation more enjoyable if you know that you're going to be doing fun things.
It does. And, unfortunately, last year and probably this year, we kind of have to pull back on that spontaneity a little bit, and even campgrounds are getting so impacted. I mean, I can remember, when my kids were little, we would just go on Friday, without a reservation. And that's just not something you can do anymore.
Yeah. All right. Well, the second one is be mindful of your actions and your impact. How are people impacting the environment?
And it's not just the environment, it's also, people around them. So what are you bringing to that situation that maybe could be impacting somebody else? One thing we saw last year were a lot of consumers, and rightly so. Everyone was frustrated, right? We were all frustrated. We were tired of being told to wear a mask or go a certain direction in a grocery store. And then you get to that outdoor space where you kind of want to forget about it. And somebody's telling you, you have to park here, or yes, you have to put your mask on, or you have to pick up your garbage. And consumers were taking it out on those employees, on park employees. And I had several situations where state and national parks told me they were maybe one employee away from having to close that area because employees were quitting because they were like, we're tired of people yelling at us. And so your actions can have a bigger impact. If you upset that employee, they quit. Now they've got to close that whole area altogether because they don't have enough people to maintain it. But then also think about how your actions, impact the environment, how they impact others around you. Maybe you're impacting other consumers. So it's really important to just pay attention to, be mindful of yourself and what type of impact you're having on different areas.
Yeah, and leave no trace and make it cleaner than you found it is always our favorite thing to say. Well, that leads us right into take only photos. They last forever. What can people do to make sure that they're taking care of the natural wonders of the world, the animals out there, the plant life?
Well, it's very tempting to go out into nature and to be on a hike and want to pick the flower or pick up the cool rock or, take something. But if everybody came along and took something, right, then there wouldn't be anything. We saw that here at Glass Beach in Fort Bragg. It was really cool and super pretty, but everybody came and took the glass, and now it's really just a beach. So, do you even call it Glass Beach anymore, right? So it's important to remember that the person coming behind you wants to have the same experience you did. And so if you're picking all the flowers along the way, then that person behind you doesn't get that same experience. So it's much better to take some photos. There's an app called Seek, SEEK, that's super cool for identifying plants and flowers. Use your Seek app and earn some badges for collecting different pictures of different types of flora and fauna rather than picking it and taking it home with you.
That's going to include leaving things behind like painted rocks and stuff like that as well, but also your pet droppings. And that's the next one. Clean up after yourself and your pet.
Yeah, and this is a big one for me. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine recently who's an avid hiker and backpacker. And I made a comment when we were on the trail about people leaving their dog waste bags. And she said, well, I do that all the time and I pick it up on my way back. And I just about lost it because I'm like, well, if I come down the trail after you, again, I'm not getting that same experience. I don't want to see your dog poop bag on the trail.
Exactly.
So if you, yeah, right. Because by the time I come walking along, there could be 20 dog poop bags.
It's like a Christmas tree of dog poop bags. I've seen that so many times and I hate it too.
So many times, so you have to be mindful of that. If you are going to put your dog poop in a dog poop bag, then you have to take it with you. There's also the ability to keep a little shovel with you and bury it, dig a hole, kick it into the hole, bury it. And that provides a better experience for everyone coming down the trail behind you. But it's super important to, be mindful of the fact that there are people coming down the trail behind you.
Yeah.
And one other thing with your pets as well is that if you have a dog that is maybe a little aggressive, you're going to need to make sure you're picking out spaces where you have safe space around you for your dog. I saw one lady almost get dragged off a cliff because her dog went after somebody else and there wasn't space for both the dogs to be on the trail like that. So if you do have a dog that maybe is a little bit aggressive, make sure that you're going somewhere where you can create a safe space around you and that dog.
Yeah, those leashes that have a handle at the end and then another one that's just, about 2 feet away from the dog. So you can hold them real close are really nice. So when people can, keep them too close to them when you're passing a lot of people and especially other dogs on the trail.
Yes. And then when it comes to garbage, we've talked a little bit about, taking care of our pet, but the same goes for us as humans. We saw a tremendous amount of just, garbage last year, like piles and piles and piles of garbage. So again, if you are going to pack it in, make sure you have the ability to pack it out. There, in a lot of cases, nobody else is there to pick up your trash after you. So take a garbage bag with you, throw it in the back of your car. And when you get to a dumpster somewhere or a garbage can, throw it out at that time. But very, very important not to leave it behind. Parks don't have the staff to run around and pick up every little piece of trash. And that impact could end up closing places. So if you're gonna take it with you, make sure you have the ability to take it back out.
Practice responsible geotagging. The advent of social media has allowed us to all find some wonderful places that were kind of a little bit secretive in the past. How can we be more responsible about sharing these wonderful places and not making them overrun?
So there's kind of a twofold here, right? So on one hand, when we do that, we send, 1,000,000 people to a space that maybe can't accommodate that number of people without it really damaging that environment. And the other piece of that is a lot of times people will blindly follow those geotags into a situation that is well beyond their means and into places that they shouldn't be. A better way to do it, if you want to post your pictures, say, hey, I had a great day in the Tahoe National Forest today. And it doesn't necessarily be the exact spot that you landed. And then if you've got some friends that really want to know, hey, where was that? That was super cool. You can ping them offline. It just doesn't have to be in your post, because what will happen is that trail will become so impacted that it ruins the experience for everyone. It changes up the environment over there.
We saw that when whoever it was installed that art installation, if you want to call it that, there was like a metal pillar that got stuck out in the middle of nowhere, and it was found by public officials, and they didn't say exactly where it was, but still people went out looking for it. And when they did, there was lots of situations where there were rescues because people got challenged finding this very, very remote location.
And it looks beautiful and it sounds fun, but not everybody is equipped to get out there and go find these things. And so it's important to be aware of that when we're doing our tagging. We're not saying don't post. We're not saying, don't share your experience. Just be a little bit more responsible with it.
The final one is about saving the trees and burning wood responsibly. How can we make sure that we're not transmitting bugs everywhere and we're not starting forest fires?
Yeah, okay, so this is going to be a big one this year, right? Because we've got a really, really difficult situation going on. When we move firewood from one location to another, we're taking the pests that are in one area and actually moving them to a different area that might be harmful or impact that environment. And oftentimes I hear, well, I'm going to burn it. The minute you set it down outside your campfire ring, those pests scurry and they go and they take off and they start infiltrating the trees in the environment that might be harmful to them. So it's really important to try to buy where you burn. Firewood Scout actually is a website, and it will allow you to find firewood in the area that you're going. So that's a great way to do it. Another really cool product is Goodwood, and it's a wonderful little perfectly contained box that you can use to start a fire with, and it's clean and it doesn't have pests in it.
Let me add that, I think a lot of people think that moving firewood, that's just one way we can protect from moving pests across the country and these bugs that infiltrate and kill just millions and millions of trees. It sounds like it's just a small way we can help, but they've traced so often these pests moving to specifically firewood. It is the number one cause. It's not just one little thing. It is what we are doing to kill trees is moving firewood across the country. So it's a really big thing.
And you don't think about it when you're packing up your car, to go camping. I get it. You buy firewood at the store, you throw it in the back of your car, and you're not thinking about it, but it does have a very serious impact on our environment.
What about where to burn and when you can burn and putting your fire out and all that?
Very, very serious situation we have this year, especially here in California, where we have high fire danger. So it's important to know, do you need a burn permit for the area that you're going to? In most cases, like some of the national forests, you won't be able to have a fire this year. So it's important to check CAL FIRE, check the local fire agency for the state that you're in to see what is allowed. Check the campground that you're going to. And then when you're doing that, actually check around your spot. If you can build a fire, what hazards are around there? Is there a tree hanging over that could catch a spark? Something like that. And make sure your fire is all the way out. When we say dead out, we really mean dead out. So it means pouring water on it. It means taking a stick, stirring it up, pouring more water on it. I can't count the number of times that, I've seen somebody even do some of those steps and then get up in the morning and you still see a little stream of smoke, coming out of the fire. So very important to, when they say dead out, they mean dead out.
Yeah, they can restart really easily. And you also want to check the weather conditions and see if you're under a red flag warning. Your fire might be legal one night and not legal the next night, and you could be causing a serious problem. Dyana, tell us about finding a campground in California and your organization.
So CampCalNow is the association that represents all the RV parks and campgrounds in California, but we are also Camp California. So we love to promote the outdoor spaces to the camping consumer. We give them lots of tips and tricks on what to do and where to go and how to get there. And we do that through a couple of things. One is camp-california.com, our campground search finder website. And we also have the Camper's Guide to California. And you can pick this up at all Camping World locations. It has really fun stories in it, road trip ideas. As a matter of fact, if you are in California this year and traveling the coast, we have our California Coastal Challenge. So you can win some really cool prizes by staying at certain parks along the way, along your route. We have really, really cool outdoor principles stickers that go along with all of these outdoor principles. So if you would like to receive your own set of outdoor principle stickers and one of the camping guides to California, please just text outdoor to 33777 and we'll be sure to get those out to you right away.
Dyana Kelly, thanks so much for joining us. These were really great tips and I really appreciate it. We'll put a link to all of your social media and your website in the show notes for this episode, and hope to see you again soon.
Thank you so much, Jason. I appreciate it.
RV pet parents. If you're looking for a trusted and comprehensive way to keep your loved ones safe while you're out exploring, then you need to check out the RV Pet Temperature Monitor from Waggle. We all know an RV can quickly become an unsafe place for pets, especially in extreme heat. With Waggle, you'll get real-time temperature updates, RV power loss and back-on alerts, and more, all designed to help you take quick, life-saving action. Plus, Waggle comes with built-in Verizon 4G cellular, so there's no need for Wi-Fi, and you don't have to be a Verizon user for it to work. Waggle RV Pet Monitor also comes with GPS to help you pinpoint your RV in a crowded parking space, track your location with your smartphone, and so much more. Head over to rvmiles.com/waggle for the link and coupon code to save 40% off your Waggle Pet Monitor order. That's rvmiles.com/WAGGLE to save 40% off your Waggle RV Pet Temperature Monitor today.
Electrical surge protection is one of the cheapest insurance policies you can provide for your RV, and the Power Watchdog Smart Surge Protector, made by Hughes Auto Formers, beats the competition with field replaceable surge modules. With other brands, when the surge protector takes a large surge or a spike, you have to throw it away. The Power Watchdog can be brought back to life with one small, affordable part you can replace yourself. They'll even give you a free surge module in the first 2 years, and now have a limited lifetime warranty. Use the coupon code RVMILES, all one word, for 10% off your order at HughesAutoformers.com. That's RVMILES for 10% off at HughesAutoformers.com. It is now time to check the level of our tanks. Abby, what is in your black tank this week?
My black tank goes to all of the restaurants here in all of our hometowns and how much we eat at them when we come back into town.
We're always we're always getting the friendly childhood food that we loved so much, and
Or just that good old Midwestern food that we grew up with that we
it's
crave.
all full of cheese.
Oh, it's so bad for us. And now that we have a family member that owns one of your favorite places, a Taco John's,
Yeah.
we do feel like we have to go there and support them.
We do.
So it's going to be an interesting 4 or 5 weeks. This may be where we officially put on the Quarantine 15.
Oh, I think I already put that on, but
All right, well, on that note,
what's in your fresh tank?
so my fresh tank goes to Disney World and Disneyland because starting in July, we are going to be able to look to the skies again because fireworks are back in the park. So it's July 1st for Disney World, 4th of July for Disneyland.
I don't know why that feels like such a momentous way to sort of come close to the end of this pandemic.
It just is another sign that we are doing what needs to be done to get back to what we remember sort of our lives being like before the start of 2020. And it's just one more thing for me. That means our Disney trip will be a little bit more normal when we go there in January. I just need that dining plan and then I'm going to be great. All right, Jay, what is in your black tank this week?
I was watching a video on the Creativity RV YouTube channel. Robin over at Creativity RV was talking about visiting a private campground outside of Reno, Nevada. Now, Robin spends the vast majority of her time, and now with her boyfriend who has moved into the RV with her, boondocking.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Rarely ever visits private parks, but had to because of a maintenance issue that they were dealing with. And they booked this park just for one night. And when they booked online, there were 6 sites available. And there was some confusion when they got there. It seemed to be like the site that they booked was not the site they got. It was a different number. And the next day, they wanted to just book another night so that they could have, some more time. And they go to the office, and the office says they have no sites available, right? So then they go look on the website, and there are 6 available. So they booked one. They were like, they didn't understand why one showed up, but they booked one. And the office got a little angry at them, apparently, because this campground always has 6 sites available on their website. She didn't say what campground it was, but I was able to suss it out and figure it out.
Of course you
so
were.
I went, and sure enough, 6 campsites available. It seems to have changed a little bit now. Sometimes they have more, sometimes they have less. But when I looked right after I watched that video, there were 6 available. And we've been noticing lately a little bit of this, like 1 or 2 sites left, and they're always the most expensive sites available.
Yes, there is, it seems to be a little bit of this taking advantage of the FOMO that's happening, for lack of a better word, that, I go to book something through a private campground and it'll say 1 spot left, hurry, only 1 spot available. And this is common. This isn't just across, one state. It's all states that we've had to book in through the spring. They always seem to have 1 spot left, and it is always the most expensive spot. And it is always premium, and there's going to be all these things promised. And 50% of the time, those things aren't there. 50% of the time, the amenities aren't there.
Yeah, looking at you, nice wood swing that we were supposed to have at the last one.
Yeah, looking at you. And a lot of times, too, there is now these third-party booking sites that are coming into play, and they are charging a fee in order to use them. And we as the consumer are having to carry that fee.
What I think is happening a lot is as somebody who has dealt with ticketing a lot, and it's a very similar thing in the entertainment industry, the live entertainment and the event industry, where you're dealing with ticketing, where some of the smaller businesses, they want to have the online reservation thing happen because they know a lot of people want that. They want to be able to go to the website any time of the day, click on a site, book it, and be done. They don't want to call anybody. They know that these campgrounds generally have one person in the office, and then they're on the phone with somebody for 20 minutes, so you're constantly getting a busy signal. So they know that this is beneficial. But when we book using those online services, generally we as the consumers pay a service fee, and that service fee usually goes directly to whoever the booking software company is, right? They don't charge these campgrounds like an annual fee. They can, but the campgrounds don't want to pay that. So they charge per order. And if the campground books a site on this system, often they have to pay the fee as well. So what happens is they set up the online server for you to pay when you book online, but when they book over the phone, say you call into the campground, they don't want to run it through the system because they don't want to pay the fee. So they're putting it in a spreadsheet, they're writing it down in a notebook, they're doing whatever. And they sometimes don't go back in and update that system to show the actual availability of sites, or at least it's not in real time. And sometimes that gets taken to the extreme where they just say, we're just always going to put 1 or 2 sites up available, and then we're never going to have to deal with it, and we're going to make them the most expensive. And I think that's part of what we're seeing happening. So
Yeah.
the booking over the internet has routinely become a little bit problematic for us recently.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do a little experiment when we get back on the road, and I'm going to start calling places, because I certainly don't want us to sound like we're accusing anyone of doing anything nefarious, but it does start to get a
But
little...
we are. But not everybody, but
but-
just a few campgrounds are being nefarious. Some of them are just maybe being a little bit lazy or
Yeah.
or not being clear enough.
Well, I do believe that there is a little bit of this taking advantage of happening right now, because the consistent narrative being spun is that everybody is out on the road, everybody is camping, and nobody can get a campsite, that all these new campers are ruining it for the rest of us, and they're taking all the campsite spots. And we have talked a little bit about that, yes, but we have always talked about it when we have evidence in front of us to discuss that. And so this is, for me right now, is still a little bit of a gray area, because I'm only seeing it for myself. But that said, I'm seeing it whether we are in a rural area, an urban area, a suburban area. It does seem to be a consistent pattern if I have to book online with a private campground. So I think what I'm going to do to just test my own theory is, when we get back on the road, I'm going to start making some phone calls. It's not my preferred way to book, because I'm usually doing this at 10:30.
It takes time.
Yeah, it does take time, and it takes patience, but I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to see what happens, because I think that there are probably more campsites out there than we are being led to believe.
We'll do a little compare and contrast, try both at the same time and see what happens. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because I think it's just a little sussy to me that I'm in a campground for 3 days where I was told there was only 1 spot left, and the entire row I'm in stays empty the entire time I'm there. People cancel. We know that happens. But an entire row, 10 sites, they all decided not to come.
Yeah, and we get the problem at public campgrounds, which is different. They actually have a better reservation system generally.
Yes.
But
Well, they won't even let you call. You have no choice but to utilize the reservation system. They can't fudge the numbers.
But that many empty sites at a private campground, when you saw one was available, that's concerning.
Yeah, especially on a Monday through Thursday.
I will link to the Creativity RV video in the show notes, rvmiles.com/201.
All right. Well, what is in your fresh tank? You got something in the fresh tank this week too? Because we just spent 20 minutes talking about the black.
My fresh tank is our U-Haul storage. We have a storage unit again. We had a storage unit when we first got on the road, and we tried to not have a storage unit for the longest time. But then we had stuff piling at different relatives' houses.
We have been leaving stuff all across this country. We need to put it into one central location.
And
now.
my mom sold her house and moved our stuff into storage for us, thankfully, while we were gone.
Very nice.
And into this U-Haul storage place that is a former Kmart here. And what I'm getting at here is that the storage game has changed drastically with some of these newer storage places, because this place is amazing. They have garages that you can drive into so that you're weather protected when you load and unload stuff all around the place. They have bathrooms. It's climate controlled. It's clean. They have a place where you can drop off donation stuff right there, so you don't have to worry about taking stuff elsewhere. People can, grab stuff from there, or then if they don't, they'll take it to donation for you. And everything is key card accessed, including alarms on all the individual storage units. So even if someone has access to the building, which is common, a storage building, usually everybody that is renting storage there can get into, and some of those people might, steal your stuff, right? So there are alarms on every single individual unit, and you just swipe your key card when you arrive and it disarms the alarm, and you swipe it again when you leave and it arms it. It's an amazing place. I love it.
Sometimes it's just the simple
It's
things
the
in
little
life,
things.
right? There it is.
It really is. All right, it's time to wrap up this episode with a tip. We are doing a new thing where we're wrapping up the episodes with a tip or hack from somebody in the RV community, whether it's somebody on YouTube or somebody from our Facebook group, what have you. And this tip comes from our friend Joshua over at Gander Flight. It's a great idea for figuring out the exact height to raise your tongue jack to on your travel trailer before you back up your truck to it without figuring it out. I'm always going up to the hitch, and I'm
Yes.
pointing at the side of my pants and then walking over to the truck and making sure that it's the right height and going back and forth.
We should say that we've actually already recorded this podcast once, and we were having this discussion on the podcast that we didn't hit record on, but we just sat there and talked like we were actually doing a podcast. And one of the things we were laughing about was that this tip comes to us, 2-3 weeks after we no longer
I no longer need it anymore.
Jason's been using his pant leg for 2 years.
But it's an excellent tip about
is.
painting one chain link on your safety chain to know when it's off the ground, it's at the right height.
All right, so if you've ever played magical hitch height while backing up your tow vehicle to hook up to your trailer, you know it can be super frustrating to hop into the vehicle, out of the vehicle, into the vehicle, trying to get the right height. You don't want to bring the trailer up too high. You don't want to keep it too low. So this little quick DIY project will help you to get the right height every time for the cost of some spray paint. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to set the height of your jack. You're going to get it up high enough that you can get the ball under. You're going to put the ball under, and then you're going to lower it down to the height that you want it to be at every time you hook up. So give yourself some clearance, and then also look at the ground and see. Whichever link is touching the ground, go up just a little bit more so that there's a whole chain link free of the ground. So if it's halfway up, go up a little bit more. Tape it off and spray that chain link. Now, every time you go to raise or lower the tongue jack, all you need to do is raise it so that the link that is painted is completely off the ground. And since that chain link is attached to your trailer frame, it's going to be the same distance every time from the point of the ground to the ball height. Raise it up so that that chain link is completely off the ground, and you should have enough clearance to get under with the hitch, as long as you're using the same tow vehicle that you set it up with every time. And while you've got the spray paint and the masking tape out, go ahead and tape off a little triangle on the top of your ball. Sometimes when you're using backup cameras on vehicles, the ball and trailer frame get lost in the shadows. If you make a little triangle right to the direct center of that ball coupler, it'll show up on the rear view camera much brighter than just the black metal.
Our thanks again to Joshua at Gander Flight, and we'll link to Gander Flight's channel. But check them out on YouTube. Joshua does a whole lot of tips and tricks, not just for RVing, but for all sorts of maintenance projects around your house and stuff. Really convenient, interesting things, and I really love his channel.
Yeah, I think I referred to him as the Tim the Toolman Taylor of the RV world.
All right, that's it for this week's episode of the RV Miles podcast.
Yes, it is. And hey, as we ask every single week, if you are enjoying RV Miles, would you please head over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review? That review has helped put RV Miles in front of thousands of new listeners. We cannot tell you how much it does for us and how much we thank you for doing it. RV Miles, of course, is all across social media. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. And if you would like to connect with Jason and I, please head over to the RV Miles Facebook group, where you will not only find us, but 10,000 of some of the nicest RVers out there. And finally, if you're shopping Amazon this summer for anything, we would love to come with you. You can head over to amazon.com/shop/RV Miles. You can search our store, or you can go off into the Amazon world and buy, I don't know. Let's give an example. If a non-RV related thing, what do you want to buy right now?
Lots of camera equipment.
Oh my gosh.
It's always my favorite. But make sure.
I'm just here for the organic dairy creamer, and
do
you're
wanna
over there
add,
with
though,
camera equipment.
Don't do it every time. Because if you do it every time, and there's some great people out there that are doing it every time for us, but Amazon knows that, and they cut those people off, and they're like, you're a family member, and you're just buying whatever. So just do it, sometimes when you visit Amazon, when you're buying the expensive stuff.
85% of the time. If I have to give you a percentage, 85% of the time. All right. Thank you so much for the ways that you continue to support RV Miles. It means the world to Jason and I. We wish you the very best and happiest of travels this summer. Please be well, please stay safe, and keep logging those RV miles.
Bye, everybody.